Good evening, everyone, and welcome. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, the notice requirements have been satisfied. The meeting dates for the year are confirmed at the annual meeting, are posted on the public bulletin board in the lobby of the Municipal Center, and published in the record within the first 10 days of the new year. Notice of this meeting by February 20th, sunshine notice, has been sent to the Record, Suburbanite, and Northern Valley Press, and has been posted on the public bulletin board in the lobby of the Municipal Center. Just for those that are interested, this is a combined meeting. We have our work session first, and then we go into our public meeting. Public comment will be taken at the beginning of our public meeting. And the first item on our agenda is to recognize 4 young students who really did a wonderful job in presenting essays. We had over 200 essays entered from the 4 elementary schools. The job of the judges, you can probably still see for the 3 of us that are sweating about reading in so many essays in such a short period of time, and especially since so many of them were wonderful. So we're going to go in alphabetical order by school, and the first winner from McKay School is Wally Chan. Is Wally here? If you don't want to read it, either your mom or dad or I could read for you. So that's really no problem doing that, but I think the audience would love to hear you.
Can I have a few moments before?
You may have as much time as you want.
So while he takes a minute, I'd like to thank the superintendent, Shauna DeMarco, for allowing the contest to take place in the schools, and all 4 principals and all of the teachers. We had, I believe, over 500 submissions. I think every grade participated, all the kindergartners and all the 4 elementaries. We had a great time judging and reading the letters. And most importantly, this is to celebrate Tenafly's 125th year. So this letter and the goal was to say, why should the children want to celebrate Tenafly's birthday in their classroom? And now to Wally.
Okay, Wally, would you like me to hold it?
I can hold it.
You can hold it and read it at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wow. From the K School, Wally Chan.
Dear Miss Mayor Rustin, I believe that 3T from McKay School should host Tenafly's 125th birthday party because we are responsible enough that we should have the privilege of hosting the celebration of the 125th anniversary of Tenafly. We would appreciate if you appoint my class 3T to hold the big celebration. We love Tenafly. We believe Tenafly is great because it has great technology and it grows hastily, learning new things left and right. I would like my class to host the 125th anniversary of this magnificent town. Malcolm Sutherland McKay was born in Englewood, New Jersey in 1881. He moved to Tenafly in 1908 with his wife, Helen Raynor, his 3 sons, and a daughter. The McKays lived on Knickerbocker Road. In 1924, Mr. McKay and his sister, Miss Jenny L. McKay, donated 28 acres of land to the Tenafly Board of Education. On November 13, 1940, the Malcolm S. McKay School at 111 Jefferson Avenue was formally opened. Although Malcolm has passed away, his wife was there to attend the dedication ceremony. This is why we should place the celebration in my class at McKay School, because we have an interesting history. We love to host Tenafly's birthday party, and we think that it would be a great way to honor Malcolm McKay and his wife since they loved the Tenafly community. I as well love the Tenafly community, and I am proud to be living in a great town and attending a wonderful school.
Here's the photo op.
Thank you.
I will tell you that we heard the party throughout the school. Every class heard that party. They did a wonderful job. Next, from Warm School, Juliet Sherman. And these, we're going to keep these pictures, and we're going to hang them up in Borough Hall for the year. And at the end of the year, we'll give them back to the authors. Okay, would you like to read this? Okay, would you like me to read it? Okay. I hope you don't have as many big words as Wally did. Okay. Dear Mayor Rustin, my name is Juliet, and I am in 2P Morm Elementary School. I think our class should host Tenafly's 125th birthday because Joel has a birthday on the 23rd of January, and he would love to share his 8th birthday with Tenafly. We learned Tenafly's history this year in our Tenafly Times. We also learned about the first people who came to Tenafly. We all care about Tenafly, and we have Tenafly spirit. We live in Tenafly. We treat Tenafly nicely. We care about the animals and plants in Tenafly. We are thankful for having a wonderful town to live in. Every day I try my best to make Tenafly a better place to learn and to live. I love Tenafly so much, and you mentioned that you were in Miss Palumbo's class, and this is love, Juliet Sherman. I love when we get love letters from students. Well done, Juliet. Thank you very much. And you see, both of those letters recognize the history of Tenafly. It was very interesting what we were trying to get in these essays, more than the fact that you were a group of party animals. A lot of classes were. We had a lot of party animals in this school, so I can't wait for them to get older. But both of those letters acknowledged the history of Tenafly, and they were wonderful. Next, we have from Smith School, Sylvie Yale. Sylvie? You gonna read this? Okay, good. Here, come closer to the microphone. That's a long one. Sure you can do it now, huh? Okay.
Hello, my name is Sylvie Yao, and I go to the school, Smith Elementary School. I'm in the class 4C, and this is my letter. The year was 1688. There lived a little Dutch girl who traveled from her homeland in the Netherlands to a new world. Her name is Eva. She is 9 years old and has a great imagination. The trip from the Netherlands to the New World was hard. Her dad worked on the dock while her mother washes clothes and gets things tidy. Eva was so very lonely on the ship. She had no friends on the ship, so she thought she was going to be really happy when she got to the New World and finally meet other children. After Eva and her family got off the boat, they walked all the way to a river. At the river, men made boats to go across. While Eva was waiting, she sat on a rock and imagined all the amazing things that were going to be in the new world. Mountains and valleys and streams and rivers were swirling inside Eva's head. She wondered what her new life was going to be like in the new world. While Eva was imagining what it would be like in the new world, the men finished the little boat to cross the river. She and her family and the other people went in the boat to sail the river. After they crossed the river, they walked for a while longer. It was a long walk, but they finally made it. When she got there, she was relieved that the long walk was over. In the corner of her eye, she realized that there were swamps. In fact, there were 10 swamps in all. That's when Eva thought of a name, Tenafly. That means 10 swamps in Dutch. Eva suggested the name for the town. Since that day, Tenafly was the name of the town. Eva built her house right where J. Center Smith School Elementary stands, and her room is where the current 4th grade class for Catarasso is. She lived in the house for her whole life and had an amazing life. This is based on what I thought it would be like in the beginnings of Tenafly, only 206 years after Eva's house was built on the site of Class 4C. So what's better than having a party in 4C? What if something great really happened where our class is located? Perhaps the battle was there. Perhaps it was where a little girl and her family first settled down after the long trip. Did you know that 4C is at one of the oldest schools in Tenafly? No one knows if anything great happened right where 4C is. It doesn't matter what happened in the past, but it matters what is happening now. It is And now it is the 125th birthday for Tenafly. You might be wondering where you should have the party. I want to tell you that the Classroom 4C is an amazing place with well-behaved students and an amazing teacher. If you ever thought that all classrooms are the same, then you are wrong. We work hard every day, week, month for an opportunity like this. I think this contest can put my class up to be the best thing possible we could possibly be. We would welcome and be pleased to host the 125th birthday for the Tenafly party. Hope you like this letter. Sincerely, Sylvie Yao.
What an imagination. After watching the Oscars on Sunday, I believe we're going to see her up there accepting a screenplay Oscar in a few years. Thank you, Sylvie. What a great story. And from Stillman School, Henry Nashel Watts. Is Henry here tonight? Can you read this? Yeah. Okay, good. Here, let me raise this. You're a big guy. Okay.
Okay. Dear Mayor Rustin and Councilwoman Dayton, hello. I've heard that you and the council of the borough of Tenafly were having a birthday party to celebrate the 125 years of existence of Tenafly since the papers were signed back in 1894. This is pretty big news and is an amazing reason to celebrate. But where should the celebration be held? I believe that the celebration should be held in our classroom, Mrs. Eisenberg's 5th grade class in Walter Stillman Elementary School. When you enter our classroom, there are positive quotes on the walls, like, "Keep your attitude bright and your life will shine." These quotes start everyone's day off on a positive note. Mayor and Councilwoman, you will feel positive too. Speaking of positive, Mrs. Eisenberg prepares all of our students for success, not only for 5th grade, but for both the middle school and the high school. Our class works so very hard, and we learn so much every single day. Not only do we learn a lot, but we also have a lot of fun. We wrapped our friends in toilet paper during our Halloween party, filled in Mad Libs, and sang our answers to holiday music during the holiday party. And we rang in the new year by breaking the sound barrier. 22 air horns at the same time. Personal advantage for me is that this class helps me and makes me feel comfortable for my autistic features. When I was little, I had severe autism, and it was a big roadblock for me. Started falling behind in schoolwork, and I've been trying to catch up ever since. I feel that now I might be able to catch up and be on level with everyone this year because of the help of my teachers and my classmates and everybody else. Now you know why this class is important and why I think the celebration should be in 5E's classroom. When you have the celebration, I hope you know where to go. Sincerely, Henry Nashel Watts.
Henry's not the first person to tell us where to go.
And Mayor, Principal Lander, actually, with Henry's family, sent a gift in for us.
Really?
And so I'm gonna unravel it from Stillman, and Jeff will help me. And it's this fantastic 125 by the students.
Wow.
And
Wow.
thank you, Principal Lander, we love it, and hopefully we'll be able to display this as well.
Councilwoman Dayton would verify, we'll stay here for a second. We went to 4 different parties in one day, and we were exhausted. Are any of the teachers here from any of the classes? No. Yes. Oh, welcome. I'd like the other 3 winners to come up, and we'll take a picture. Lauren, you want to come down, please?
Jeff Judge, too.
Yeah. While we're getting set up on that, as one of the judges and also as a teacher of 7th and 8th graders, I want to say that all those essays were fantastic. every essay we had was great. These were just mind-blowing, and I kind of wish they were my students. I'm in the wrong district, obviously.
Henry, come over, get a little closer, hold your essay out. And I would appreciate if you could email me these pictures, please. Your classmates should be very proud of you and appreciate the fact that because of the four of you, your classes had a party. And your parents should be very proud as your teacher, are going to impose on our teacher to join us up here for one minute. I want to thank you parents for coming out tonight. I know it's a school night, so we're going to let you all go. I just want the essays back. And congratulations to our winners. And I think it was Sylvie's essay that mentioned 10 swamps. I don't know if you saw our director of DPW flinch, because we don't have any swamps in Tenafly anymore, except when it rains. Thank you.
And for all the families, we hope that throughout the year you guys come and attend our 125th events. We hope to have some more community events to celebrate Tenafly, and thank you for participating in this contest.
And our meeting shouldn't take more than another couple of hours if you want to hang around.
Or get your homework done.
Mayor, you want to do the logo? Do the logo.
On your way out, you might want to look at this beautiful picture. This was drawn by 2 high school students. They were the winners of our logo contest, and I bet you can tell me what this is. Anybody know what the picture is? The train station, that's right. And you want to know something? The train station, Cafe Angelique, the train station is actually older than Tenafly. It's much older. Yes, it was built in the 1870s. Have a safe trip home, folks.
Thank you for coming out.
Yeah, we're gonna stay here.
Good night. Take care, Joe.
Derek, we're gonna stay here. Yes, because there's a problem with the computer. Next in the to be considered is the amendment to the towing ordinance. Who put this on?
Yeah, Chief Chamberlain requested that the towing ordinance be amended at the request of the towing operators. Our ordinance hasn't been updated in the last 13 years. All the fees do go to the towing companies. However, once there are unclaimed vehicles, they provide it to the police department, and then it's auctioned off, and those proceeds are deposited in the general fund.
Okay.
You want to start or start? I think that the towing fees that are here are very, very high and punitive. I think that they went to the maximum allowed rather than look for a schedule, a reasonable amount. If you have a problem, you have an accident or so, those tolls charges are prohibited.
Did you discuss this with the chief at all?
I did not discuss with anybody, and I think that there are.
So because you had the same issues with some of the charges on the bill list, and they were explained to you, and I believe you understand them now. Before we move this along, why don't you talk to the chief and get a sense of...
Maybe other people want to discuss this issue too.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to definitely discuss, because I checked the surrounding towns, Crestfield, Bergenfield, and Englewood.
Okay.
Because in this, it says upon a random sampling of reasonable rates. I don't even know what that means, you know, she's not here to explain. And teaching, I don't have a lot of time during the day to get that done. But I will say that Crestfield and Bergenfield are using the same schedule template as, and I agree it's old. Englewood has updated theirs, and it's not near these numbers. It's less. So, for example, ours is currently $100, she's proposing $150, Englewood actually is $125. and Inglewood's looks much more recent than Tenafly, Cresskill, or Bergenfield. But I would like a better explanation of why this would be reasonable.
Why don't we send the Englewood towing ordinance to the chief as a reasonable amount to be considered,
Okay.
rather than go to
Do
the
you want
max?
me to send it?
I'll send it to him.
Oh, she,
I
the
mean, I
call.
didn't have to only send to you, I have it.
Oh, you already have it? Okay,
Yeah.
just forward it to me and I'll send it to him.
Okay, administrators report, please.
Okay, well, you all have received your budget books this evening, and our first budget meeting is on Saturday at 9 a.m. And we follow the customary schedule where we meet with the bulk of the departments over 2 Saturdays. And in the Tuesday in between the 5th, you meet with the planning board, nature center, DPW, and go over the capital budget. Our regular meeting for March 12th will start earlier at 6:30 to go over the technicalities with the bond counsel and the auditor. And based on the state's extension, we will be introducing the budget on Tuesday, April 9th, and have the hearing on May 7th, and hopefully be able to adopt it, assuming that there are no delays with the state. On a budgetary note, I just wanted to report that this time last year, between March 6th and 7th, we had one of our blizzards, Winter Storm Quinn, in which the borough spent $102,139.70 for all the activities involved: snow removal, the plowing, the salt, the debris removal, overtime, use of the vehicles and equipment, and standby pay for the volunteers in the fire department and TVAC. So there was a state of emergency in which the borough was able to request up to 75% back from FEMA. Thanks to the hard work and diligent record keeping of the Deputy Emergency Management Coordinator, Captain DeMancata, and Lynn Vanderlinden of the DPW, they answered all of FEMA's questions. They met with FEMA at the police department, and we are getting back $76,604.78 to 75%. And 78 cents. And again, it is all thanks to Captain DeMancata and Mrs. Vanderlinden's record keeping and paperwork and accessibility. And I did see when they met with FEMA a few months ago.
Good.
That's great.
Anything else?
Well, I also attached some grants that Kelsey Howard had provided for potential historic preservation projects, and I just wanted a consensus to forward this to Karen Noose to have the HPC review for possible projects. And
When you said, just a question, max requirement 25%, we mean we have to put 25%
Yes.
and they put 75%?
yes,
Thank you.
But you have to
you have to commit.
you have
to
to,
that.
you have to apply for it.
Yeah.
Get it.
Yeah.
Not everybody got it.
Well, you don't apply, you don't get it for sure.
So I'll forward this over to Karen.
Yeah.
And Dan could elaborate more, but TVAC had another rescue, another save using the Lucas, which was donated by a resident.
No, they don't have that yet.
No, but they're getting one.
Yes.
But there was a save, so at the April 16th meeting, we will recognize the members that participated. So we'll have another field of.
Lucas is a CPR, like an automatic CPR machine.
It helps with the compressions.
It costs $15,000, and we have a resident whose yeah, but their child was a member of TVAC for a number of years, and they made this donation. It's wonderful. We'll recognize them. And we'll bring in the piece of equipment when it arrives.
And I've attached the engineering report and the snow report in case you have any questions.
Yeah, it was
I
something.
have a lot on the engineering.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mitch, you first.
Oh, on the snow report, I don't remember that we had 5.6 or 3.5 inches. It was really 3.5, I thought it was we had 1.5.
But there was a little ice that was on top.
The layer on us is 3.5.
Yeah.
Ms. Lawyer?
Okay, on the engineering report, the culverts, the various culvert, excuse me, repairs. Did we have anything in last year's budget for this?
We had budgeted in the capital, and the bids kept kept coming in so high that we were able to negotiate. We rejected the bids twice, which enabled us to negotiate, and we were able to repair 3 of them. So, there was a little bit of money left over that we could apply towards what will be in the 2019 capital to continue with the repairs.
Okay?
I have a question, see if I'm gonna start with the beginning, the DPW building. Are we finished, done? Are we basically got the bond, done, everything? I'm still looking at here, and reason.
Well, what's going on, as there are monitoring wells that are being installed, we have to do that with the underground storage tanks. That's a constant project that the borough will have to be involved with. But with the building itself, there are still a few punch list items that the contractor has not completed, and we have the bonding attorney involved.
Right. The bond company is going to, I don't want to actually talk about this in open session,
All right,
but
okay,
yes,
so-
there's some things, we have claims against the bond.
So why don't we
And
make
so it's not-
a change to the closed session tonight
to talk about.
to talk about this, please?
Okay.
Fine.
Okay, the next
I
one.
don't know that it'll answer your questions, but at least
Whatever,
an
at least
update
we
on
Just
know
to
that.
give
where
an
we are.
Yep.
At least we know where we are right now. Here, there are like a laundry list of things that are prepared and stuff like this. I'm just wondering, Fisker Park, where are we now with Fisker Park?
Well, the gate was ordered and is anticipated to arrive in March, and then they're looking at doing the shop drawing of the trash rack, and then there was the, appropriation of the $1,000 and change to the company to do the analysis of the pond to see if it's a candidate for hydro rating.
Okay, and I thought that the municipal field is done. Are there anything left for the municipal field?
Mr. Colbert can explain.
There's a few punch list items, Council President, that have to be addressed. We have been in touch with the company, and they are aware of the scope of field turf towards the end of last week, and they are going to remedy the existing punch list items.
Can I ask, the equipment to maintain the turf field, was that in last year's budget? Did we purchase that?
I don't know what you guys mentioned.
Okay.
It was put in
But
the
did we-
budget.
Do you know if we purchased the equipment to maintain the turf?
I will look into that.
Okay.
It's in the
I think it's
budget.
at the groomer.
The groomer.
You know, if I remember correctly from 2 years ago, I thought that equipment for maintenance was included
Yeah,
in the
That's what I thought
project,
too.
so we should have that.
exactly,
I don't think it was ever ordered. Maybe we want to follow up with Jason.
Oh, that's a good question.
yeah.
It should have been here, because that was part of, in other words, they were almost giving us that as part of the contract.
That would be nice. If not, I
That was my
think it's
recollection.
Somewhere around 30,000 is what I
Right.
heard.
And the last question is, we had the report that we need for the engineer for the roads and stuff like that. Where are we now with that?
They are working on it, they started collecting data and inspecting, so our target date is to have it presented to the mayor and council in May.
So
In May.
we all got an email today from at least one resident, very upset with the condition of the roads on Woodland. And, you know, this
It
is,
was Peter's pushed him.
Woodland is on the list.
No, I didn't.
Woodland is on the list of the roads that we're seeking a grant from the DOT for this year. It will be in this year's budget, but it all depends when we receive the award from DOT. If we receive it before we adopt the budget, then we could go forward with it, hopefully late summer, early fall, but it's on the next list.
I communicated with the governor's office, asking them when they're going to release that funding, because that funding is normally released either in the end of the fiscal, end of the calendar year, November, December, or at the latest, January. And I got a response that, he'll look into it, so.
Well, the
Liz-
issue
Liz,
with
Good question.
Piermont
It's a
Road,
good question.
they were late in providing the second phase, and then they gave us the second and third last year, so.
so can I ask, with this study that we're commissioning on the analysis of each and every road in Tenafly, why till May? It was my hope that we'd have the study maybe January, February, and we'd be able to figure out how to budget
It
the
hasn't been,
particularly bad roads now.
no, this time of year, January, February is the time to do the study, to do the on-site inspection, to do the categorization.
How long does the study take?
Yeah, you got 200 roads.
200 streets.
Well, all the information was collected, so now they have to compile the report and do, all the schematics and the ratings, so, and the funding has to be put in place for the study.
The funding
I
has
thought
to
we
be, I
paid for
thought
it
we
last
paid
year.
for it
We
last
paid
year.
for it last year, I thought.
No, you gave the
didn't I?
authorization last year, but there was no funding in the budget last year. And so
How much
this
is
year's
it?
Budget, 25,000. And that's the bond ordinance that was introduced at the last meeting that will be approved at the next meeting.
Oh,
So it's all the timing is coinciding. I will try to get it for the April 16th meeting, but no later than the May meeting.
So realistically, will we be able to budget anything for that road study? Will we be able to say, these are the top 5 worst roads in town, and we will have the money designated for them
You could
this
do,
year?
what can be done is once the budget is adopted and projects are closed out, if there are leftover funds in 2019, you could determine we're gonna work on these worst roads, or we expect to have, let's say, $80,000 left over. Let's go on the list where the roads aren't bad and do the micro surfacing. But when you do your planning for future years, at least you'll know, you won't have a sticker shock and be like, well, why do I have to spend 1.3 million? Well, it's because these roads were rated significantly damaged or whatnot.
So we basically lose 2019 to add any roads, because we won't know.
Well, no, that really begs the question, if we decide in the budget to increase capital money for road repair.
Right now.
And
Right.
there's
But we
something-
don't have the results of the study to say.
No, but there's something else. We have a ton of money coming back to us.
from last
200,000 from the parking lot, 200,000 from the previous work on the roads. We have, if we get for sooner or later, the Piermont money coming back to us, that's about $600,000. So we have almost $1 million should come back to us, and it's gonna be up to us to reprioritize those funds for whatever we need as roads or so.
How is what's $600,000?
The Piermont Road, that it's right now a grant, we have to put in.
We have to do the project,
Yeah.
submit the paperwork, and again, wait for DOT to submit the
Exactly.
funding. As projects are closed out, and you can look at the budget after it is adopted, there is wiggle room for us that we put in the capital down payment if we want to do a supplemental bond ordinance and be like, look, this road, it can't wait to 2020 or 2021. We can't wait for a grant to maybe.
We don't
get
need to wait for the
100 or
study for that.
50%.
Well-
I agree, we don't
But
need
the
to wait for
study
the
we
study,
need.
but we're not gonna know if we have, overture until the end of the year. and
No,
then
not
we can't
necessarily.
pay.
As projects are closed out,
We'll get that money
Susan can
back.
close out the
Right.
account and she could say, for this capital project, we borrowed 400,000, we awarded a contract for 400,000, we had a change order, and we have we spent 317,000, so we have this balance left, and we have this other balance left, reappropriate to a project. So we have that
And we are
ability.
close to do that on 2 projects at least.
Okay.
The parking lot, the school parking lot, and the roads for last year, that we just did a change order last time.
For
last meeting.
90,000.
Yeah, for 90,000, so we should have 200 and 200, so at least 400,000 should come
For
soon.
roads. I also want to tell everyone, I spoke to someone at the county road department who said he happens to drive Angle every day and realizes it needs work as well. But he is willing to come to our town, we can invite him in, to look at all the county roads to see if we can get some work on the county level.
Well, I've also been in touch with the county engineer for East Clinton Avenue. East Clinton Avenue was done by the county about 2 or 3 years ago. They started at 9W, got down to Old Smith Road, and for some reason or other, unbeknownst to anybody, they stopped. And at the bottom of that hill where Old Smith and Edgewood meet East Clinton, that area was a mess. I had them clean, they came up and they filled in the potholes last week or the week before, but as you drive down the hill past Angle,
Yeah.
it's a disaster. And I've asked them, when are they gonna finish, and I'm still waiting for an answer, so. But at least they've been put on, they've been put on notice.
Get this
Who
person.
you been talking to?
His name is Tom.
Tom Connolly is the assistant engineer.
Yes.
Yeah, he was on my email trail.
There you go.
Okay, let's move on. You finished? Correspondence.
Wait, I'm sorry, I'm not done. The Central Business District culvert, can we go back to that one?
Okay.
Because this is an estimate of $500,000 for the 2020 capital budget. So what right now are we doing to maintain or repair it? And can we get any other estimates for that? That's a significant amount of money. Okay, so what are we doing now to maintain?
We just walk it, DPW walk it, make sure that
this is to completely replace all the culverts in the business
Do the
district?
repairs.
You really can't replace them, they're under the buildings.
They're under the buildings.
Yeah, in fact, if you go into the movie theater, in the basement, you'll see you'll see the stream. Okay? Can we move on?
Can we get a proposal to break down that money? Just, I'd like to see, I mean, that's a large chunk of money. I'd like to see it broken down into an estimate. Thank you, Bob.
Okay. Correspondence. We got a note from Assembly. You're not done?
I'm not done. I'm sorry. I wanted to talk about the grants, the last one, the CDBG grant. We had mentioned last time that a 2019 CDBG grant was open, and I see we had, where is it? Something for, something around Cortland and some.
The roads?
The roads. So this is for roads. Is that the same grant then that would be for the senior center?
Yes.
So it's one or the other?
Yes. So,
When do we have to decide that?
it's when they announced it. They announced it, I'd say sometime in October. That's why we had to work on it in November because the deadline was in December.
Last December.
Yes. So
we
for
applied for
20
roads.
We applied for roads because we already had several in the senior center. And that's to complete the census tract since Grove Street was paved using CDBG. So we have to wait and see what is being proposed for 2020, if CDBG will continue, and what the criteria is.
Okay.
And there's no guarantee we're going to get all of
Oh,
that
I
money
agree.
because it's very competitive.
So depending on, if we get an award, will we get a full award or a partial award, then you could decide, let's continue to complete the project or move back to the senior center.
So this was roads for Cortland, Sunset, Columbus, Hickory, Newcomb, all the dead ends.
Yeah, that's the
and-
census tract, that little area,
Sure.
that was our application section.
Okay,
You finished?
I believe so. Does anyone else have any questions?
Okay, moving on to the correspondence. We got a thank you note from Assemblyman Johnson for our support on A1311. We got a note from the fire department. Bob, do you have anything to say on this?
The immediate concern has been rectified. We have a few repairs to be made. We do have control over the air conditioning, and the heating is the rest of the building.
Okay. We got a letter from Susan NG, I'm going to say, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, the owner of 172 Newcomb Road. This house is a rebuild. It's on the corner of Newcomb and Knickerbocker Road. They currently have a sidewalk running on their front, which is on Newcomb Road. It starts at the corner, goes to their, little past their driveway and connects to nothing. So they ask for permission to take the sidewalk out. I spoke with the engineer, I spoke with Mr. Culvert. There's no reason that they can't do this as long as they leave the accessible ramp on the corner of Knickerbocker.
So I disagree about taking the sidewalk off.
Nobody walks on it, nobody,
Well,
it goes nowhere.
Instead of removing it, I was going to say, why don't we continue the sidewalk down Newcomb?
Because you have never been in a situation where we've tried to put sidewalks in front of people's homes. They
I
don't want them.
understand, Mayor, but the sidewalk is for public safety, and we're increasing the amount of bike lanes, and there's no way to put bike lanes on that road. They could drive on the sidewalk.
Where are we going to get the money?
To make a sidewalk, doesn't our DPW create sidewalk?
No.
Who creates the sidewalk?
I think if we're going to spend money on sidewalks, we should divert that to roads. Absolutely.
Agree on that, agree.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
But I also don't think we should haphazardly be removing sidewalks from properties.
You also,
There's not a
there
really-
was prohibited bicycles on sidewalks.
There's no, this sidewalk serves no purpose, unfortunately.
I don't think there's a real purpose for that sidewalk.
Next is a letter from, well, I don't see, you folks have,
Mitigation, it's a three
Yeah.
mitigation exception.
the reason they want an exception is hardship, and we don't grant exceptions for hardship, unfortunately. If you do one for somebody, you have to do it for everybody. There's really, Mr. Culvert has been up, inspected the trees, they're healthy. They're in the backyard. I visited the backyard the day before yesterday. If they want to take the trees down, they can mitigate like everybody else has to. The money will be refunded as soon as they plant the trees.
I have a, go ahead, Max.
Oh, I'm sorry. If the trees there, because I looked at the same thing, if the trees are healthy, then the falling dead branching issues is not a problem. So if we have the certification that the trees are healthy, then there is no danger to the property.
That's exactly what I said. In this weather, there's hardly a tree that exists that doesn't lose a few branches. If you're concerned about it, you have the tree trimmed. If they want to take the trees down, which is their prerogative, they just need to put in escrow, so we're guaranteed that they replant trees, according to our tree ordinance. Mark?
So I have a question. Is there any allowance in the ordinance so if you want to take a tree down and plant the new trees first, in other words, mitigate first, then take the tree down to get around the escrow issue? And then we get what we want actually sooner than we would normally get it.
Bob, in your experience, would that be,
That has never been
I mean, it's,
looked at before. I don't see why that would be an issue.
if we put the trees in first, right, then we're guaranteed they're in, we can avoid the escrow issue.
so you'll send them a note and let them know, or somebody's got to send them a response and let him know that if he wants to avoid the escrow, he could arrange with the DPW to have whatever he wants to do done before he takes the trees down. Although it's a small backyard with a pool in it,
Well,
I'm not
that's
exactly
for
sure how you could do this.
the
but that's
DPW
his
to work out the
that's-
details,
That's his
right.
responsibility.
Right, correct.
Okay. Last but not least, I don't know if any of you viewed the pod. If you, this is from the plaza, and if you go up Hudson Avenue, the plaza is one of those properties that is on a corner, so they actually have two front yards. And the pod, I would say, isn't really that obtrusive, except for the fact that it's got a big advertisement on the side of it. So the first,
Why they don't want to put it in the back.
my recommendation to you folks, since they only want it there till April, is we grant them permission to leave it there this year, under the caveat that it cannot go, they have to make other arrangements for next year.
No, but why this year? It's
Well-
through April. We agreed to through April up to May. And then basically they have to remove it, and next year they cannot put it back.
That's what I just said.
You said.
Leave it up there through April.
Oh, so you said through the year.
No, through April.
Okay, all right.
Anybody have a problem with that?
No, I'm good with that.
Okay, just strongly remind them that next year it can't go there. They have to make other arrangements. And that's it for correspondence. Any questions on the resolutions?
Yes, I
Yeah.
have a question. Max, you start.
I'll start. Okay, first of all, I want to say that.
You know what? If you don't want to go first, let them go first.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you're introducing them every.
Yeah, it's very
It's just 'cause
important
we
to
talked
say,
at the same time.
okay, let me get through it, so we don't. We have over here a resolution that basically recognizes that Pride Day is an important event for Tenafly.
What resolution are you talking about, Max?
As resolution
19-107.
19-107. And I want to make sure that everybody understands that part of the community that we are in, we are an inclusive community, and the fact that we do not discriminate either with sex or sexual preferences on color or anything like that, or ability to perform tasks. And for this one, I believe that this resolution is extremely important and shows the character of the town.
Is that it?
That's it.
Lauren?
Yes, I would just like to read one area of the resolution. This resolution declares June 1st, 2019 to be Tenafly's Pride Day. This resolution declares this Saturday in June to bring visibility to Tenafly and the region's LGBTQ and more community, to promote the LGBTQ mission, to illuminate and celebrate human diversity, raise awareness and understanding, promote equity, inclusivity, diversity, and foster a tolerant and welcoming community here in the borough of Tenafly. We hope our residents come out to celebrate this day, and we hope to have a wonderful celebration like we did last year.
Okay, now the organization that's sponsoring this is?
There is a new organization. It is just called the Pride Day Committee at this moment. If anyone's interested in joining, they're looking for additional members. And it's being headed by Natalie Kavanaugh, Dory Kavanaugh, and Will Weir.
I guess we'll move on to,
I have a question. I'm looking over here for the resolution to apply, to basically appoint a second alternate public defender, R19-99. I couldn't find it over here, but the question I have, if you find over there, what is the process by which we appoint any of these people, the public defender? The first one.
well, I'll explain it to you,
Okay.
okay? These are appointments that I make that, is this one confirmed by the council or not?
Yes, it's
Okay.
done during the reorg.
It's done during the reorg. Now, in previous years, we've had 2 alternate public defenders. I believe I explained this at the reorg meeting, that one of the 2 chose not to be reappointed because she was up for a judgeship. And I spoke to the public defender and Dawn, and the sense was if we could get by with only one alternate public defender. Now, you need more than one public defender on occasion when there's a case with more than one defendant. And each defendant is entitled to their own public defender if they need public defenders. So we went with only one alternate public defender. I got a call about a month ago from the woman who said she didn't get her judgeship. If we would like, she would be willing to be the alternate public defender. I don't believe she was called at all last year. So that's why this is on the
So
agenda.
is this something that should have been a separate item, like the council has to approve that?
But you're going to approve it tonight, if you
Okay.
care to. And like I said, this would normally have been part of the reorg meeting. And if I was looking for somebody, I would let you guys know, like if we're looking for a prosecutor or we're looking for a judge, your input is extremely important. Okay, moving on to for the good of the order. Lauren, you put on database for old agendas. Oh, you have 2 and Max has 1.
Actually, I have 3. So the first thing is, I think the council, and I know this has been discussed at length, but the council is a little bit hindered that we can't access old agendas and documents. I've spoken with our brand-new deputy clerk, and we are working on creating a Dropbox for now, temporarily, of all of the documents and the engineering reports and things that we need to reference to get our work done. And we'll see how that works for all of us. And if we can have a more permanent solution, we're exploring it. If anyone else is interested in some ideas, please let our deputy clerk know.
So what's the proposal for the use of the Dropbox? How will that be administered?
So,
Does anyone have access to that?
so I'm gonna turn it to the deputy clerk. How would we all have access to the Dropbox?
So technically, on the agenda, it'll be subfolders, so everything that you get digitally would be dropped to that Dropbox, so everybody would have access to it.
So there's no deliberative material there?
No, it's the same thing that's
Okay.
posted online would be dropped into the Dropbox.
Okay, thank you.
The only thing I assume not attached to anything enclosed, so that, I guess we would still have to,
Well,
contact the
you'd have
clerk.
to say what the parameters are. Do you want only engineering reports? Do you want building department reports? So that way those folders can be created. You may not want every item of correspondence. And then once you decide that, then it could be crafted.
I think we would want everything available, except for the closed items.
Yeah. And maybe, okay.
Chamber of Commerce calendar.
Okay. I would like to propose to add the Chamber of Commerce to our official borough calendar. It's currently not part of it. But I believe that to have it on our public calendar and let our residents know when the Chamber of Commerce meetings are. There's an enormous interest right now in developing downtown. I think residents want to participate. And so Mark and I, as liaisons, would just better be able to show residents when the meetings take place.
That makes sense.
Anyone else?
Absolutely.
Well, don't forget, we have Burbio coming in, and they will be putting all of the stuff into one central location, so
Yeah.
looking forward to
Burbio
it.
is is
that's
not the
third
solution
party.
I'm looking for.
Yes, I don't think.
All right, Max, you had parking
Okay,
lots?
now, this is a longer conversation.
You don't want to put meters, do you?
I'm sorry?
You don't want meters, do
No,
you?
no, this is a conversation, Peter, that as a matter of fact, we had at the beginning of the year. We know that our parking lots are basically used for transit to New York. And when they are used for transit to New York, it hurts the business because people stay over there in the parking lots and nothing was taken care of it. And we have the same thing like in the municipal parking lot over here. During the day, we have tons of cars, which are far more than what we have employees or so. So we need to do something about that. At one time, we were talking about maybe hiring somebody that would be able to start looking at the time of the cars are in the parking lot, because it seems that nobody is right now doing that. But in order to do so, we will need to implement a few things. We need to implement, for example, for the people that work in the Borough Hall or the people that work at the Senior Center, we need to implement some sort of a stickers to show that those are employees. So if people come over here and they look at the parking lot over here, those people will be exempt from either having a ticket or not. So this is just to put in the good of the good of the order. I want this to be an item that we can discuss next time, and we'll start looking at hiring somebody for 4 hours between the hours of maybe 10 to 2, which is basically sufficient for us to be able to find out if there are people that are using our parking lots for commuting to New York. And when we start that, we're gonna start cleaning up the problems that we have with the parking lots, and also looking at how would you issue some sort of a stickers for the employees of the borough, so they are not ticketed for having the cars for a long time in the parking lots.
Well, perhaps you want to, if we're going to have this as an item on the agenda, you might want to invite the police chief here to talk about what, if any, enforcement they've had. I'd like to see, actually, what I'd like to see on the activity reports, which I get the sense that people are starting to look at. I've always looked at them. But there's summonses. There's a column for summonses. That includes parking tickets as well as moving violations. I'd like to see that split up. So, there are times when I say, I ask him, how come we have so many summonses that day? And I believe it's because that's the day they chose to enforce the parking rules. Once again, I'm not criticizing the police department because the parking laws are low priority compared to the emergencies and the traffic ordinances, et cetera. But I think that would go a long way to giving us a sense of how well, if at all, these parking rules are being enforced. And I don't know how prevalent it is, Max. From time to time, I've looked at the lot behind CVS, and I would say, if there's 30 or 40 spots there, maybe there's 3 or 4 commuters in there that day, cars that don't move for a significant period of time. That's 3 or 4 too many, obviously. Also, the parking needs to be enforced on Washington Street and West Railroad Avenue. But keep in mind, Mark and Lauren, that when we start enforcing these rules, the merchants start to complain because they feel we're harassing their customers.
The customers that stay for 2 hours, 3, that's not a problem. The customer that stays for 7 hours, I don't think there is a customer that goes to a restaurant or to CVS for 7 hours.
Well, we're not going to be able to see who stays for 7 hours if we're paying somebody to work for 4.
Well, okay, we know who stays for 4 hours.
And keep in mind, we start our budget hearings, and we're talking about adding payroll and benefit, well, not necessarily benefits, payroll. Let's get through the budget first and see how much wiggle room we have before we start talking about increasing our payroll.
This is not a question, this is a question of principle of managing the town and managing our parking lots. We have this issue for a long time, and we're gonna look at that during the budget. But we all agree that we have a problem, and we all have to agree that if we have a problem, we have to fix it.
Okay.
If this is too much of a burden because the police has so many problems with the emergency or so, we understand, and we're gonna take the burden away from them. if that's a problem.
Well, I think, like I said, the first step is to get a sense of how many parking tickets they are actually writing, if any.
Yeah, so let's get through that and let's start.
And I'd like to have the chief tell us how many, on a typical week, how many hours does he allocate, or is he able to allocate to this kind of enforcement?
And the last 5 days, I just looked at, we've got 0 tickets anyhow. So,
Well, that's not correct.
Peter, I have a
But there are
question.
days when there are 0 summonses. Usually it's weekends, when there
So-
are no parking and parking restrictions.
Is the commuter lot, the Wells Fargo lot, is that the only one commuters can really get
no, we have.
parking?
No, we have the one behind the basketball courts. also.
Behind the basketball courts, right, okay.
It's a commuter. And what happens over there, people do park over there, people that don't have the stickers, because nobody enforces.
They're
the
parking
stickers.
there anyway,
Yeah,
understood.
they park over there for, so, and that should be another revenue source for us.
Mm-hmm.
And that reminded me of my third, for the good of the
Oh,
order.
Ben, oh, shucks, yeah.
Actually, this is parking lot O, behind the movie theater and behind our business district. I would like to know if anyone is interested in having our Chamber of Commerce start to speak with the businesses. And my rationale is I'd like to introduce the idea to them that we can renovate the area behind their businesses directly, where their individual garbage pickup is, to centralize their garbage to clean up that area, better Board of Health issues. And what I would like the chamber to do is see if they're interested in this idea. So basically, we would repave back there, we'd clean it up, we'd centralize the garbage, we'd landscape a nice walking path for pedestrians to get to the parking lot. What we need to know really is the garbage collection frequency and tonnage for each individual business, because if they cannot move their garbage to a centralized location, which would still be within the parking lot, it just wouldn't be individual behind each business. We need to know that. How big would a structure need to be to house and keep clean the garbage and recycling back there?
Let's look for something first.
Well-
Let's do a plan.
First of
And with
all,
that one, go to the businesses to show this is gonna be the location.
first of all, you're opening up a whole new thing. Bill, you're the attorney. Before we spend public money on private property, there's things you have to consider.
Well,
I'm not in, I'm not in.
Parking lot O is ours.
Yeah, but you were talking about making improvements to private property. That's exactly what you just said.
Well, no,
And I'm not,
let's
and,
clarify, please. The paving would be done on our parking lot, on our South Summit Street. And the only areas that would not be our property, we would not be taking from them, we'd be paving for them and giving back to them. for
well, you
their
can't
employees to-
spend public money on private property. Bill?
Again,
would you
Well,
say
the
something?
construction project, wait,
that's
hold on,
not-
let me just
not
explain.
exactly true,
The
'cause
construction project and the centralized garbage would be
have an
on
easement.
borough property.
That's the first
There
step.
is something called an easement, there's a construction easement. I've spoken with our professionals, with Mazer and our DPW. You can take a construction easement if the businesses agree.
Right.
So my question to the council is, are you interested right now in having the Chamber of Commerce start to introduce this idea to our local businesses and see if there's an interest, if they would be interested in meeting with us or speaking with us?
Let's make a plan. Let's
And
make
about
a
their
show
garbage
drawing.
collection.
You have to be very careful about suggesting that the Chamber of Commerce do something, because taking into account the personalities involved, you can't have somebody going and kind of representing the borough when they don't represent the
They
borough.
would represent the Chamber of Commerce on behalf of the business.
Okay.
Which is why I'm saying the Chamber of Commerce would be doing it.
Peter,
Please, Mark.
do we have, Lauren, do we have some drawings or like a plan that's come from the borough? Because if we have something that comes from the borough that basically speaks with one voice, and then whether it's the chamber or whichever organization is discussing it amongst their members, they're talking with one voice rather than just a general conversation.
The
So at the moment-
appropriate body to do a drawing like that is the borough engineer.
Yeah.
Okay, and if you ask the borough engineer to do that, then you can't complain that he's charging us to do it.
So
Oh, they said
we
that
have
they can
not,
do it for free.
so to answer your question, I have not looked to spend any borough taxpayer money yet on this project until I know if this would be even possible with the businesses.
So at the moment, you're basically just asking for a survey.
That's
of
right.
the-
Basically,
of
I'd like to
businesses.
survey the businesses to see where they would stand on this issue, if they'd be interested in following through before I spend any taxpayer money. If everyone says no, we like throwing our garbage all over the floor and having it, dirty back there and no pathway, then we're at a crossroads. If people are interested in cleaning up that area, making it better for our residents, having it paved by the borough, then we have a place to speak. Then it might be worth spending the money with an engineer to have a drawing or a program in which we could say, here are the steps to get the project done.
Well, I was suggested that I appoint a subcommittee to work with Andy, and I'm happy to do that if that's what the council wants to do.
Yeah, I think the idea Lauren has is it's an excellent idea. I do think, though, we should invest a few dollars in having the engineer put something together, even if it's a one-page with a diagram, something simple, so that assures that we're controlling the conversation and people don't think it's going to be more than it is or less than it is.
So I'm going to suggest that Mark and Lauren, as our two chamber
There we go.
representatives, I'll be happy to work with them, and Andy.
That's fine.
We'll get, first of all, get a sense of what we want to do and what, if any, cost it will be. And we'll report back to the council. I'm sure that Andy will make himself available to sit with the three of us and figure out what you want to do.
Yeah, I think we keep it simple.
So Andy and Bob Colbert and I all walked parking lot O already.
Okay, great.
Which was a very nice gesture on their part, and at no cost to us. And we analyzed the area, they, showed me the options, and of course, they have the idea of this project as well. So
Okay.
it's been introduced to them.
Okay.
That's good, okay. Great.
Next, under old businesses, the dog park, who put that there?
I put it in because we want to know what's going on and when we start, when we're gonna have it done and everything else. We need to kind of start to move on. We have this dog park over there, up in the sky for such a long time.
Well, this is supposed to start in the spring once the ground thaws, to start with the grading and ordering the fence. But there was mention about holding off to get a different fence. There was supposed to be funding. That's why we put it on.
We can start the grading. I don't believe we're gonna get a different funding. We have to move on, otherwise we're gonna just be here next year looking at a different.
I think the
That's on the tickler.
I think the council was okay with the fence. We had some public comment suggesting it, but I think the council had pretty much decided what kind of fence they wanted.
Yeah, I think we should be moving full speed ahead on this based on what the council approved.
Okay.
Well, while our dogs are still young.
Yes.
Well, we are alive.
Well, it may be too late for some of us, Max.
No, but forget the dogs about it.
So
Okay.
when can construction start on the dog park?
Well, she said when the ground thaws, then they can start.
Like about August.
Okay. I'll accept a motion to close the work session.
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, unless somebody,
Before we move on, please, until Adelini recognizes everybody's voice with the exception of Lauren, obviously, can you please, I will confirm who motions, who seconds, so that way it's done for the minutes, so stop saying it all at the same time. I know your voices, but she is used to.
Oh, okay.
Mark,
I made the motion. Mark Zena.
and Lauren seconded.
okay, so we're ready to go into the public meeting?
Yes.
Okay. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, the notice requirements have been satisfied. Meeting dates for the year are confirmed at the annual meeting, are posted on the public bulletin board in the lobby of the municipal center and published in the record within the first 10 days of the new year. Notice of this meeting by the February 20th, 2019 Sunshine Notice has been sent to the Record, Suburbanite, and Northern Valley Press, and has been posted on the public bulletin board in the lobby of the municipal center and the borough website. Salute to the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Bash?
I'm here.
Councilmember Deacon?
Here.
Councilmember Grossman?
Here.
Councilmember Menon?
Here.
Councilmember Park? Councilmember Zena?
Here.
Mayor Rustin?
Here. Revisions to the agenda?
Yeah, we have one. We're just adding under closed session, discussion of the DPW building. It's a
Okay.
legal matter.
Public comment? Anybody have any comments from the public? You have to come up. Not only you have to come up, you have to identify yourself and speak into the microphone.
We can bring you the microphone.
Alida Kratnoff, 27 West Clinton, Tenafly, New Jersey. Mary Salpocas from 85 Hillside could not be here tonight. So in her stead, I just want to commend the mayor and Lisette for getting on the case of the fire hydrant, which had not been working in front of her house. The next day, Suez was there and the work was completed. So thank you very much. Mary, I guess from all of us if there's a fire. Thank you.
You're very welcome. But check your fire alarms anyway. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Councilman Zena.
A second?
Councilman Grossman, second. Dan was late.
Hey, you are too late.
Please call the roll.
Councilmember Bass?
Yes.
Councilmember Dayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Grossman?
Yes.
Councilmember Menon?
Yes.
Councilmember Park?
Yes.
Councilmember Zena?
Yes.
Okay, we'll go to public hearings. Adelini, please.
The following ordinances published herewith was first read by title on January 15, 2019, and posted on the bulletin board of the lobby of the municipal center. It's ordinance 19-01, an ordinance to amend and supplement chapter 35 of the revised general ordinances of the borough of Tenafly entitled Land Development Regulations.
Public comment on this particular ordinance? Okay, Dan, you want to move it?
I move to pass and adopt on second and final reading ordinance 19-01, that notice of same shall be published according to law.
Is there a second?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Councilman Grossman, second.
Councilmember Bash?
Yes.
Councilmember Dayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Grossman?
Yes.
Councilmember Menon?
Yes.
Councilmember Park?
Yes.
Councilmember Zena?
Yes.
Okay, we move along to my favorite part of the meeting, committee reports. Councilman Zena.
No reports this evening.
That's why it's my favorite part. Banu?
Yeah, there was one meeting this week. Yesterday, the senior center board met, and the mayor was there as well as Max, so they can add if they'd like to. But it was a very nice meeting in that, well, it was actually a sad meeting in one way and a happy meeting in another. One of the board members passed, and there was a recognition of the passing. And they're looking into finding another board member, somebody who will come in, who would be from out of town.
No, not necessarily.
Yeah, no, that is an out-of-town member.
No, it's not. It's not in the bylaws. There's no minimum or maximum.
But I think that's the interest.
I corrected that. When she saw that when I saw that on the minutes, it's not a requirement, so it could be anybody. The only thing the only limit on the board of directors is they have to have a minimum amount of residents, but there's no maximum or minimum amount of non-residents, which makes perfectly good sense.
There were a couple of old business items that they revisited. One was discussing that they're going to have the budget meeting on March 9th. They mentioned the pancake breakfast that they're interested in having, and with IHOP contributing, donating batter for 200 people, all this stuff. So they talked about that. There was talk about voting at the
Banu, talking in the mic.
talk about voting at the center, and the request was submitted by the borough to the county. The county visited the senior center, and we'll see if there's approval, and whether they'll be there, will be able to use the center for the primary or the general, or maybe the general election.
There won't be any changes for the primary. If there are any, it would be for the general county primary.
And then they wanted to make sure that we understood that the senior center, that there would be no apartments, that they aren't interested in having apartments on top of the center, or to have a temporary location while any work was being done on the center. So they wanted that specifically conveyed. But I think that was basically about it. I don't know if there was anything else.
No, it was a tribute also to Becky, who was leaving the year. Everybody was supposed to say something nice.
Is that it? Max, you have anything?
I have nothing.
Okay, I just wanted to throw in this.
I have a bunch of reports.
Well, yeah, but I'm going in order. We'll get to you.
I thought he was going to make sure. Sorry.
No, I know you're eager for the mayor's remarks, but we have old and new business first. I just wanted to mention, I asked the fire chief for a report. You're all familiar with the terrible fire that took place at the Markel paper plant in Elmwood Park, and I believe there were over 50 various units that came to support the local fire department. And he wrote, Tenafly Engine 1 responded to Elmwood Park on the morning of January 31st at 5 minutes of 6 in the morning, along with other interborough mutual aid units. E1 responded with 5 members, stood by the Elmwood Park DPW for a short period and responded to the fire scene. E1 relieved a Clifton pumper and using their hose pumped water to a Demarest ladder. E1 returned to Tenafly at 12:15 in the afternoon, so they were there for a little over 6 hours. It just goes to show you how mutual aid works and how there is such a large support group. And I passed by on Route 80 today and saw the remains of that plant, and well, I mean, it's worse than nothing left. It looks like San Francisco after the earthquake. I mean, it's really a disaster, but it's nice to know that not only that our fire department was able to have 5 guys there for 6 hours, all volunteers, and in return, if we ever need help, those same towns will help us. So it's
We adopted that resolution tonight.
okay. Lauren, your turn for committee reports.
The first thing, I'd like to invite the mayor, the council, and all of our public on Tuesday, March 5th, to the Northern Valley Greenway. This is a meeting by the New Jersey Department of Transportation and by the planning contractor, NV5. It will take place from 5 to 8 p.m. at Northern Valley Regional High School in Demarest. This meeting is to present the plans for the Greenway, which is a concept to preserve and convert the 7 miles of unused railroad tracks to pedestrian walkways, bike paths, and green spaces. It is for recreation, casual exercise, social gatherings, just an overall health experience. If anyone would like to come and speak with the leaders of this, it's run by Andrew McKesh and our local rotaries of the 6 municipalities. We are also on the NVG team reaching out to other municipalities and boroughs to invite them. We are going to reach out to our state level leaders as well. We hope to get a countywide effort in support of this project, and I hope you can attend.
Anything else?
On that, I don't know if the public will need this county money set aside first.
Dan, talk into the mic.
I think there's some county money set aside first, though, I think.
Jeff, you have anything?
Oh, I have one more. On the welcoming committee, they met, and they have a few new ideas that they would like to try to present. The first thing is they were exploring the idea of pancake breakfast for new residents, smaller gatherings, a more personalized one-on-one for people to come and meet, possibly at the Clinton Inn. So they are looking for that, as well as they have a confirmed date for their ice cream and firehouse tour on May 15th. And they have their September date for September 10th, and that will be our new residents welcoming event. They would like to ask the library committee possibly for a new sound system for the McCandless room. So I know Shama is our library liaison, she's not here, but maybe we could pass that along to the library board. And the other thing for the welcoming committee is there's possibly an interest to work with the swim club to form an event, so we can explore that idea as well.
I would tell you that they're barking up the wrong tree if they're looking for the library board to give them a sounds, that should probably come through recreation, since recreation uses that room more than anybody else. Library doesn't really use that room at all.
Well, the McCandless Room actually owns the sound system now, from what I understand, and so they are the ones responsible for the current sound system in the McCandless Room.
That room needs more than just a sound
And
system.
it does need more, I would agree with you completely, Dan, it could use a facelift.
No, the echo.
Jeff, you have anything?
I just want to mention that since we had the letter from, that I'll talk about briefly, from Assemblyman Johnson, I do want to acknowledge that I'm going to bring this to the HPC because they're the ones who brought to our attention the tax credits for rehabilitating historic properties in New Jersey, not just the HPC board, but also in particular Kevin Tremble, who attends those meetings regularly. And so I will share the letter from Gordon Johnson with them, thanking us for the support since they're the ones who generated it. It will also make sure that they know about the grant opportunities.
That's what a liaison does. Well done.
Other than that, no additional report.
Dan, you have anything?
TVAC met yesterday, and they have 20 students signed up for the summer test.
I tell you, they do an excellent job. And the schools have to be given a lot of credit, too. It's a partnership. Under new business, we have an introduction of an ordinance. Mark, you want to do it?
Sure. I'd like to make a motion that the following ordinance, 19-05, be introduced and passed on the first reading and setting March 12, 2019 at 8 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be heard, as the date and time, as a place for public hearing of said ordinance at the Tenafly Municipal Center.
Is there a second?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Councilmember Bash?
Don't have it, says Adeline will read the title of the ordinance.
Sorry. And, ordinance 19-05 is an ordinance to repeal and replace chapter 35, article 6, section 606 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Tenafly entitled Development Fees for Affordable Housing.
Yes.
Councilmember Dayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Bozick?
Yes.
Councilmember Lennon?
Yes.
Councilmember Park?
Yes.
Councilmember Zen?
Yes.
Okay, I actually have a short mayor's remark tonight, so I don't want everybody to go away disappointed. Talking about the summer concert series. Made one change to the process for trying to get sponsorships, because that's what pays for the fireworks. Well, we put significant money in as well, but it certainly allows us to do a nice summer concert series, and that is in an effort to increase the number of corporate partners. Those are the donors that spend the most money, $3,000. I've suggested that we give them the opportunity to place a banner on the bandstand during the concert. Now, last year we only had 3 corporate sponsors, and I'm not sure that any of them would provide a banner in any case. But if they do, we'll put the banner up at the beginning of the concert and take it down at the end of the concert. Depending on the number, I don't anticipate doing that at Davis Johnson Park because there's really no place to do it. But at Hyla Park, we do have the bandstand, and I think that might make corporate sponsorship a little more attractive to sponsors.
Can I comment for a second? So I know the banners can be very expensive. We should say banner or sign.
Well, we're not providing them, they are. Yeah,
What
well,
I'm saying is it might be prohibitive if it's too expensive to create the banner.
that's a good idea, thank you.
I'm okay with it, though, otherwise.
Huh?
I'm okay with it.
Okay. We'll move on then. You want to read the closed session thing?
Resolve in compliance
We're
with
gonna stay-
NGSA 10:12, Mayor and Council, the Borough of Tenafly is going to close executive session, discuss 2 matters, both attorney-client privilege matters, one involving the swim club lease amendment, actually, and the second is discussion of the current status of the DPW building. Administration building, right. This will be taken to this meeting and released to the public time matters resolved. After this closed executive session, Mayor and Council will reconvene in the Richard T. Wilson Committee Room to adjourn this public meeting.
Motion to go into closed?
So moved.
A second? All in favor? And our borough administrator wants to be out of here by 9:17. I'm putting you all on notice.